response answers from the Java Concepts Advanced Placement CS Study Guide, labeled Cumulative Review 3. Alright, so the first free response question dealt with creating a team and generating a list of players and valid implementation. So part A, write the implementation of the team method get players in lineup that will return an array list of players chosen from my team that corresponds to its parameter in array list integers that was generated with a combination generator. For example, if my team contains James, John, Bob, Harry, Larry, Henry, Tom, Michael, Norman, and lineup contains 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, then get players in lineup would return John, Bob, Henry, Tom, Norman. That's to say it's going to return if your parameter first element in your parameter array is 1, it's going to get the element 1, which is the second element in your team list, 2, 4, etc. Okay, so you're given a header, alright, and that header is array list player, get players in a lineup, and the parameter is an array list of integers, because we can't use in primitive types in an array list called BB. Alright, and you're going to write the answer. So what do you need to do? You need to sequence through a list of indexes, okay, and then get those appropriate players from your team list and return that as the current lineup. Alright, now there is your return type for this method, which means at the very least you need to make an instance, but the easiest thing is just to make whatever that return variable of that return type and return it. If you do nothing else, that might be 1 out of 2 or 4 points. All right, get as many points as you possibly can. Yes, you're trying to prove you can program, you're also playing the test. All right, now I need to add elements from my team, and I have an instance field called my team, which is an array list of players. So you want to read the question and look for instance fields and methods that are already written in the example. So add elements from my team instance field to team local variable and return. Elements from my team are contained in parameter BB. So I'm going to need a sequence through BB, get each element, use the data stored in each element to access the appropriate corresponding elements from my team and save them into team. Well, that's our thought process. So, what do I need to do? A couple ways of doing it. I equals 0. I is less than BB dot size I plus plus. So go through BB. I need to get I from each one. And I need to add to team. So team.add from my team get whatever value I just got from BB. So you need to store it temporarily. So like int x equals bb.get I. Auto wrapping will take care of the transfer from an integer class type to an integer primitive type. Okay, so loop through, access every element in BB, get it, save it as an integer, get that integer from my team, and then add it to team. Now, my team.getX, x is an integer, it's going to get the value of that element index, which is a player type, and I'm going to then put it into team, which is also a player type, so I don't have to worry about anything. And then return team. The other answer, or the canonical official answer, would be do an enhanced for loop through BB, so you don't have to worry about the size. You're just going to go through the whole thing. And remember, it is an integer, so I need to be careful to use the class name. And then I'm going to get each one. Remember, I have to save it as a player. I already do it this way. And then add that player to the team. Either one works, and then obviously return the team. Either one solves the first part. Okay. The trick is identify your return type. And make sure that if nothing else, that you return that type, and preferably just make a local variable of that type. Okay. Part B was to write the implementation of the BB team method is lineup valid that returns true if the lineup is a valid starting lineup and false otherwise. A valid starting lineup in a basketball team must have 2 forwards, 2 guards, and 1 center. Player positions returned by player method get position with one of the string values, either center, guard, or forward. Use the header below writing is lineup valid. So, public boolean is lineup valid. My parameter is an array list of player types called lineup. So what do I need to do? Now, again, with our basic thing, we would at least need to return something. Now, you could set a variable, again, if you just for consistency's sake, boolean good lineup equals false. Return good lineup. You could do that. I'm going to just make sure I do in fact include some return, some condition. Now what do I need to do here? I need to sequence through lineup array, check each player's position, tally number of positions that are found. Okay. So here a enhanced for loop is great. You don't have to do a regular one, but I need to have 3 variables here. I need to keep track of how many of each person I have. Alright, I just need to check, and then if center equals 1, guard equals 2, forward equals 2, then return true. So, I'm going to go through my player lineup. So for, now each person in this one is a player. I'll call it P for my lineup. So sequence through the entire lineup. If P dot get position dot equals, because I have to do dot equals because it's a class, the string center add 1 to my center. And if it equals guard, guard. Can you shorthand this in all one line? Sure. This saves it from hopefully making mistakes. Okay, so let's take a look. A little more readable. Okay, now I have update. Now these aren't else's, but I just check and I just add up the whole number of positions. Return center equals 0, or sorry, 1, and forward equals 2, and guard equals 2. And this will work. That will return, if I have one center, 2 forwards, and 2 guards, it's going to return true of a valid basketball lineup. Question C. A coach wishes to list all possible valid lineups for a basketball team. The following code segment is intended to do that task. BB team BB equals new BB team player file name, rating file name, 5, BB print valid starting teams. Right, the implementation of the team method is valid starting teams that will print the valid starting lineups for the basketball team. Use the header below. So our header is public void print valid starting teams. Okay, there's no parameters and there's no return type. Okay, so I'm going to do all my work inside of here. Alright, so it's a team method called print valid starting teams. So what I need to do is I need to go back through my example. I need to find the team method, print valid starting teams, and read if there's any preconditions or any available information. There is none. So I need to go through and I'm going to say, well, I need to generate all combinations given a team, all combinations that are valid. Okay? So the easiest thing is I just wrote a method that checks if a lineup is valid. So all I need to do is take my team, randomly generate all possible permutations of that list, and then run the permutation list through my is lineup valid method, and only print the ones that are valid. Okay, so I know I need to print, and you're almost probably never going to be printing on the actual AP exam, but I know I need to generate all possible lineups from a given team, check each lineup, if valid, then print. Well, that part is relatively simple. So if I'm going to have some is valid lineup, I need to pass it a parameter p. I need to pass it an array list of potentials. I need to put of players. That's a lineup. Okay, and again, you wrote this method above here. It doesn't matter if you didn't write anything, as long as you knew how to make it work. So I know I have to check each lineup. If my lineup is valid, then print it. All right. Well, how do I generate this list of lineups? Well, I need to generate them, and then turn this into somehow I need to get into an array list of players. Okay, so you need to look through and see if you have any information or any method or class or anything that was given to you in the example. All right, and if you go all the way to beginning of the free response question, okay, there's this combination generator class. It doesn't really tell you how it works, but it tells you what it does. And it gives you an example. So, public class combination generator, constructor creates a display of digits, the number of starting positions, okay, and then I have array list of integers, next element, returns true if there are more combinations, has more elements, and then return the next combination display. So the program segment combination generator comms equals new combination generator 304. While comms has more elements, print the next element, would print array lists of size 3 containing combinations of the integer values 0 to 4 inclusive. The high school team wishes to use the program to generate combinations of players for starting lineups. For example, suppose there's a total of 8 members of the team, and I want 5-man teams. Coach wants to generate all possible 5-player starting lineups from 8 members of the team. So you're going to write generator combs equals new combination generator 507. That's going to give you all possible numbers in this combination. So I need to use that. So I'm going to start by copying it. Combination generator comms equals new combination generator 507. Now we never want to hard code our examples in, but to start, 5 is the number of elements for each team. That needs to stay. 0 is the starting point. That needs to stay because I need to start at the beginning of my array. And then I need to figure out how many guys are in my team. It may or may not be 7. Now, that is 5 as if I'm using a basketball team. And I'm writing this in the example. I need to check if it's supposed to be a basketball team. So I rarely want to hard code a number in. Okay? So question C says a coach wants to do it for a basketball team. So could you leave it at 5? You possibly could, but it would be better to use the instance variable that number in lineup so that this could work a little more efficiently and work just in case I was running odd man sizes. And then I don't want to put in 7 because I don't know I have 7 people in my lineup of my team. So I'm going to really say have a local instance field get team or a method called get team size, which returns the size of any given team, and I'm going to use that. One stop, one less than that, because one less than that's the end of my valid array indexes. Okay. Now I've got a thing of combinations. All right. Do I need to make a entire new field? Well, I gotta go look at my instance fields and see if any of them are named. Now if you look at the top of page 415, this example put the instance fields at the end, which is annoying, but it says private combination generator starting lineups. So I already have it initialized in my constructor, so I'm going to have to use that starting lineups. I don't need to make the first part because it's already given to me. Alright, so there's my combination. Now I need to go through that and pick from my team all these elements and put them into new lists and print those new lists. So, just like from the example, while starting a lineups, has more elements, well, there's more possible combinations, or an array list of integers, we'll call it list equals the next element in my generated list, and turn that into, just like I did before, an array list of player called whatever P, and print it. So while there's more combinations, and it has more elements method that tells me if there's more, create an array list of integers, generate that for me, create an array list of players based on that list, check if it's a valid lineup, if it is, print it, and then loop through and do it all over again. And then the last question was D, explain why the team class is an abstract class. And the reason for that is what your valid lineup is going to be different for different teams. Okay, since they're not, each team doesn't need guard, center, whatever. You need to keep the superclass. You need to keep it abstract so that you can easily modify your starting lineup setup for each individual team that you want this program to run for. So there we have our answers, and most importantly, pay attention to just getting your thoughts in order. You can write comments if you want. If you're going to do that, notes on the page, make sure there's obviously a comment. Keep your thoughts in line. Identify, first thing to do is identify the return type of that method. Generally create that, a local variable of that one and make sure you return it.